Welcome back as we continue our skill development journey. As we look to create the menu items and we start to apply those in different settings, how best can we take all of our skills, all of our strengths, all of our motivators, all of our communication preferences, and all of our DISC behaviors, put them on one menu and start to determine when we want to take what part from each menu and apply them to our different situations. We begin always with the D, the I, the S, and the C and breaking up into the 4 different components. Our mission, become the world's greatest expert on ourselves. Our vision, very simply, is this: to create desirable applicants through our opportunities, our processes, and experiences. The objective specifically within this section is to best understand the personal, which matters, and the professional preferences so that our actions, very specifically your actions, align for superior performance and satisfaction. So as we dive in today, here's today's objective. What exactly do you want? It's a tough question to answer. What exactly do you want, and how do you determine what value you bring? Looking at somebody who's bringing people constantly into an organization, this is a question that we often ask them. What do you want as a part of this organization if you were to come into us, if you were to come into our school? What do you want out of this? And specifically, what value do you bring? It's incumbent upon you as you start to look to enter into different organizations, as you become the desirable applicant through any type of scholarship, jobs, or whatever things that may come your way. We'll talk very specifically about the value that you bring. Right? These are not your values per se, but this is the value that you bring to any organization, and making sure that that value that you bring starts to align with very specifically what you want out of that individual experience. So if you look on page 10, here's a list of things based upon your responses that you may want. One of the most important but difficult questions to answer, very specifically, what do you want? Now, I'll ask that again. What do you want? And that's not a question that you answer one time. It's not a question you're going to answer today and never have to answer it again. In fact, it's probably one of the questions that you consistently have to answer, and that the answer will change over time. And it's a great evaluation tool to look at. What exactly do I want out of this experience? And as you ask yourself in different phases of your life, what specifically do I want? As we stop the video and we start to look on page 10, things that you may want, which of these do you agree with? Now, when we look at what's on page 10, we look at what knowledge, skills, experiences, and attributes make up your menu. We look at the 5 environments that oftentimes you are in today: the personal, the inside Batesville High School, the outside part of Batesville High School. That would be some of our learning that takes place off campus, any types of jobs that you might be in, or extracurriculars. The things that you want, are they available, and where are they available at in the 5 environments that we look at? But I also want to stop here and talk specifically about money. Yes, we all want money. We all want to make more money. That's a given. That's going to be a part of any environment. But oftentimes the way to make the most money and find the most reward on the money that you make, or the income that you generate, is the value that you have in doing things that you specifically want to do. So at no point in this lesson are we going to say, yes, we all want money. We all would like to have more of that, but that's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is making sure that you find superior performance and satisfaction in whatever environment you are. When those things happen, money and income start to come along the way. So I want to make a key distinction here. When we talk about what you want, this is a given, right? It's a necessity, but it also is not the sole reason that we're in any environment that we're in, because if it is, satisfaction and performance will suffer over time. So now direct your attention to page 11. This is what others may value in you. And this, again, this is not your core values that we're talking about, but this is the value that you bring to an organization from a personal perspective, from your friends, but also from a professional lens, the value you bring to an organization. As we're looking to bring people into Batesville High School, what value can they bring to us, whether they work in our classrooms, maybe they work in our cafeteria, maybe they work in different functions of coaching, working with our musicians, whatever it might be, what value do they bring to us, right? And some of this is what value do they bring to their friends on the outside of it, but also what professional value do they bring in from the organization. What we're looking here is for you to say specifically what do you want and be able to put words and terminology to it, and then what others may value in you. So this is a list that's already been generated based upon the responses to your DISC assessment. Because as we look at joining any organization, there's a filtering process that takes place. Before you ever talk to anybody about a specific position, you're going to submit something, an application, resume, or whatever the portal may be for employment. That's where the filtering process begins, where we start to determine what kind of person you may be based upon what you've submitted and how you might bring value to our organization. Your job interview settings are going to be much different, much more diverse than they have been in the past, where you may have field experiences, you may have online experiences. All of those things are the same. It's a way for you to start to determine where the value that you bring to the organization lines up with what you want. And for our side of it, does this person that we bring in, do they align, is this what they want, and what kind of value they may bring to our organization? The way you do that specifically is by asking questions. Just as we sit on one side of the interview table and we're asking you questions, it's equally important, and I'd argue more important, what questions you bring to the table to ask to determine very specifically two things. By joining this organization, does this give me what I want or get me closer to what I want? And does this start to bring out the values that I bring into any organization? I want to start today. Before we go into today's activity, I want to provide a sample question for you. Based upon my own DISC profile, how can my skills of presenting with creativity and innovation help this organization? It's a question that I would ask of any organization or any commitment that I might make. Does this start to do two things? Does it start to bring in the wants that I have professionally? And is it a value that I can bring into organization using the skill of presenting along with creativity and innovation? That's a question that I would ask and have asked of different people over time. What questions would you ask based upon the information that you have in front of you to any type of organization that you may join? So our today's objective as we look to wrap up and begin the activity is this. What exactly do you want? It's a question you can continue to ask yourself over time. And how do I determine the value that you bring? We're going to work to develop that over time, oftentimes through the questions that we ask. In our next session, we'll talk very specifically, what are your limitations, at least as it's listed in this assessment, and do you agree with them? And at times, are you arguing to keep them? We'll talk very specifically the answer to that question. I appreciate you going on this journey with us here at Batesville High School, and I look forward to the questions that you're generating to determine your value and the want that you have of any type of organization you're looking to join.